Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Micheaux Film Club. This is MJ.
This is Omega.
Najee.
You got Gabe here.
And this is Dorian. What's up?
And today we're discussing Queen and Silm, directed by Melina Matsoukas and written by Lena Waithe. Ladies and gentlemen, how do we feel about this film?
Overall, I liked it. I left impacted, inspired. It really left me thinking for a long while afterward, and to me that's the mark of a job well done.
Agreed.
I stormed out of the theater. I was pissed and upset and crying and a whole bunch of emotions. Yeah. And I went in the white neighborhood too, so I was like, let me leave before I have problems.
Oh, by the way, many spoilers ahead.
Oh,
yes.
I'm so sorry I was supposed to say that.
We all forgot.
Hopefully by now you've seen it.
So why were you pissed?
Our lack of unity, like the fact that dude turned them in, and I knew when he knocked on the window with the shotgun, I was just like, nah, don't trust this dude.
He looks shady.
Word.
I'm not trying to racial profile.
I know, right? He had the mouth full of gold. Like,
I'm like, those grills. I don't know about this.
Like, if I see him,
I don't want to be that person, but
on an elevator, I'm clutching my purse too. I'm like, yeah.
I expected it because, I was talking to Gabe a couple of days ago about this and, like, the spectrum of black people in the film and how they help, and, like, how the lack of help for some characters. And, you just can't trust every person that's gonna help you out.
Yeah, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
So. I hadn't heard that, but I like that.
Mm-hmm.
The dude fixing the car too was not.
He's like, I'm not.
He's being real.
I think you came around though. It's like if you were in that situation, like let's say you were, you fix cars and these random two people came up out of nowhere, they kind of have a troubled, thing going on. It's like they're kind of dangerous, you know what I'm saying? Would you help them? It's easy to say you would, but, realistically, you're older, you have a son. I think he was on the fence the whole movie, but I do think he eventually came around and, as Dorian said, he ended up having a soft spot for him. But I do think, ultimately he regretted what happened because he ended up losing his son. So, I mean, it's complicated when you're in these type of situations. You kind of have no idea how things are going to transpire,
I mean, there's a strangeness to, him not helping them and him also helping them, but like him not giving them a discount. But I also think that he was looking at them from a place of, how the world also saw them, but from a closer standpoint because he is black and he does have a son. But also he is still in the gauge of the media, and all he sees is these two people going around the country killing cops, and how can he fully support that?
I mean, like, a lot of us as black folks, when it comes with dealing with the cops, we have a standard of conduct. The way we train ourselves to deal with the cops, especially in traffic situations, and because, the person, this character, doesn't know the full context of what happened. He's judging it, like, by protecting his son, protecting himself. But at the same time, he gotta make his money. Even if he ends up calling the cops, how many times have we called them and we end up getting shot or getting arrested? It's almost like it's a lose-lose situation for him.
Okay, I have one for you guys. So, in that situation, would you have called the cops?
I wouldn't. I don't like dealing with cops.
No.
You would not have. You would have run like Queen and Silm did.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would have run.
Wait, so are we going back to the beginning of the film?
Beginning of the film.
Okay, so
because it is a problem. Like, you shoot a cop, and your option is to call the cops or run away, right? So those were their two options.
Okay.
It's pretty fucked up options.
Yeah.
and she was an attorney, so her point of view was like, as soon as we call the cops, we're gonna be property of the state until we're proven innocent, maybe, you know. But either way, we're gonna be in jail while they figure this out, even though there was video and all that. So would you have called the cops, or would you have run like they did?
I mean, I feel like Queen was kind of on some fuck the world shit. You know, when they were eating in the diner, she was talking about a case that, you know, she had just finished like having, and, you know, and it's like, I think somebody who was, I could be getting this wrong, but somebody who was innocent kind of, you know, was considered guilty, I guess, by law. I don't know how it transpired, but I know that she wasn't happy about it. Like, she was
killed.
Okay.
They were killed by capital punishment.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
what it is.
Okay.
She was like, it doesn't matter, innocent or guilty. He shouldn't have been killed by the state.
Okay. So I think that kind of influenced the whole situation that they ended up finding themselves in, and I feel like Queen was kind of the, you know, made the executive decision to say, okay, we're not going to, you know, rely on the cops in this situation. We're gonna, you know, like figure this out on our own. I mean, we find out later in the film that, you know, it didn't work out in their best interest, but, you know, would it have been any better if they had just kind of, you know, do what you said and, you know, just, I mean, not do what you said, but like taking the other option?
See, I'm glad you said that, because I feel like this whole movie really portrayed the PTSD that Black women go through and do not get to explain. Queen was she was a fucked up individual. She had PTSD, not just from her work and seeing, you know, having that capital murder case that started, like, provoked her to even go on Tinder and go on a date with Silm. But
worst Tinder date ever.
Right, facts. But
right.
Because they found true love.
Yes, it was. Let me
Wait, was it? Wait, hold on. Okay, can we talk about Tinder for a second? Can we talk about Tinder for a second?
Wait. Let me just finish. But also, like, throughout the film, you hear that her first case that she ever tried was her uncle, getting her uncle off for killing her mom. She had issues already. She was going through stuff.
Yeah.
She dealt with within the system, and then also her own trauma, which she never dealt with. She was just really carrying some stuff. And then the reason why, and a lot of people in theater that I was in, and even me, like, when she got out the car to pull out her camera phone, I don't know if I would have done that. I think she kind of just escalated the situation and made it what it was, because she was just on some, like you said, Gabe, fuck the world. Like, she's operating in victimhood. When you're operating out of trauma and out of victimhood, you do things like that. So if honestly, if I wasn't in that frame of mind, which is kind of impossible to do as a Black woman living in this society and having to see it firsthand and live it also, and then, like, work in it, watching your brothers go through this all the time, I don't know that I would have called the cops. But if I wasn't in that frame of mind, I would have called the cops after whatever happened, because they were clearly in the right. And she's an attorney. Mm-hmm. You mean to tell me you can't get y'all off? Mm-hmm. Like, come on. But she's not operating in that because she's operating from trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And she was shot. So
right.
She was literally shot.
And the adrenaline, right?
A whole, like...
And but also, like, too, I don't know. I can't speak for y'all, but for me, whenever I'm about to get in trouble, I do think about my skin tone and its effects. The way I react, it's gonna play some shape, way, or form, because of how society reacts to us when there is trouble. So now, if this was a white couple that had a stop like that,
there would be no movie.
Exactly, and especially the woman is the lawyer, the white woman is the lawyer, right? And she got shot. She can call the cops and be like, this motherfucker shot me.
And she's about to be a billionaire.
Right.
Especially when you're Black, and in that situation, like, they're not going to believe us. Even if there's a camera right there that showed everything, they're not going to want to believe us. It's like we got to run. Like, we have to run.
I don't know. I wouldn't have run, like, away. I probably would have left the situation.
You know,
I would have called the cops. There are no good options here, but I would have called the cops, even though it's counterintuitive.
Right.
There are zero good options, but I would have called the cops.
Right.
I feel like definitely in this movie you definitely have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, because it is a romance film. You know what I mean? And you are talking about the it's a meditative film where you're kind of exploring, you know, like, the relationship between two very ostracized individuals. Mm-hmm. You know, so I feel like at that point it's kind of like, all right, we're on board with this. Like, she made a decision that, you know, we all kind of deep in our heart would want to make. because I hate depending personally. I hate depending on the cops. I feel like I shouldn't need them for anything. So I like while I was in the theater watching this and that happened throughout that whole scene, you know, it was kind of like everybody out in the crowd was kind of like, why are you doing that? Why are you talking back to the cop? But at the same time, it's like, fuck that. Why can't she? You know what I'm saying? Like, why?
White people do that shit all the time. Like,
Exactly.
why did you pull me over for?
I want your badge number.
Yeah.
You know, they get to do all that.
Calling my senator.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
the
at that
whole
point,
time-
it's kind of like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's like, it's kind of telling about the audience because, you know, the audience is like, no, just be quiet, you know, just say the right thing, you know, do what you have to do. But it's like, I feel like Queen in this situation, she's kind of taking the whole superhero stance. You know, we talked about other films in the past, like Harriet, and I feel like this is definitely something that Harriet would do. You know what I'm saying? Like Harriet would definitely like be in like, nah, fuck that. Like I just got shot. You know, like we just were, you know, oppressed. Like we were just like taken advantage of by the law, and you know, we're going to, you know, like handle the situation ourselves, which is very heroic. You know, I mean, it's not something that we expect to happen in reality, but you know, it's a movie at the end of the day, and I thought it was very, you know, admirable.
I think too that they did a good job of showing that they weren't. I mean, this isn't even in direct opposition to what you just said, but like I do think that they did a good job of showing them not as just heroes because they were messy as fuck. Like they put they went to the gas station with that cop and put him in a trunk. Messy. They ran over the dad in the Chubby's parking lot. Messy. She was running around in like half a dress and thigh highs. They went to a dance club at one point. They're like hanging out of the car. Like they didn't do it right and were like got off. They weren't gonna get off scot-free for being like the perfect heroes. They did a lot of things wrong and messily.
I totally agree. They fumbled through the whole situation.
Right.
Right thing when you're on the run, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, they weren't shown as the pure heroes who were like, you know, they did everything. Like we weren't supposed to think that they were the perfect people who deserved
to get away with it.
I don't want to say deserved.
But like
You know what I mean,
earn
right?
their
Yeah,
like
like
their
it's not
escape.
like, oh my god, they should have made it because they did everything right and safe and whatever.
They did the opposite. They kind of did everything wrong. I'm not gonna disagree with
and
that.
I thought that was a great writing choice. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like going with what you're saying, like the flow of the film, going from one. Even if we have like a little bit of an attitude, it's an issue. It made sense. You know, we're trained to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, whatever. Wherever it is, we have to talk like that. Even when Slim smirked for a little bit, when the cop asked him if he was drinking, were you drinking? What? No. Like, you find this funny? You find this funny? Why are you laughing? Like, I don't drink. Like, that's the irony of it. But the cop is like, you know, you're being disrespectful. Get the fuck out the car. Let's just like escape real quick. Like escape from our own escape.
Right.
Like we're going to this club. Let's just have a drink. Let's have a dance and just like forget what the fuck we're actually going through right now. How many times do we do that even in our real life when we're dealing with trauma? Where it's just like, yo, man, I just want to go to the club real quick. I just want to smoke this blunt. I just want to drink this like just beer, whatever it is, whatever your vice is. It's like I want to just do this real quick so I don't have to just deal with the bullshit that I'm really dealing with.
Well, to that point, there was some controversy in a lot of the things I've been hearing, like, or not hearing, but reading on social media about how unrealistic it was for them to pull over and have the love scene. And Lena Waithe actually addressed it in her interview. She's like, how many times do you see black people on screen making love? And she wanted to show that. But also people were like, how, like, you're on the run, you got time to have sex? Like, yeah, you might die tomorrow.
Slaves had time to have sex?
Right. Like, you're doing everything. They were kind of in, like, you know, just what's the word I'm looking for? Like survival. Like at any point, I could die. Yeah, I'm get this nut real quick. Like, sorry to put it like that, but you know.
But a lot of times, terrible things happen, and like people have sex. It's
Yeah.
a natural reaction.
Right.
Like people. Just because you're sad doesn't mean you have to only do sad things. Like
Yeah.
that's not how life works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just like an unfair criticism.
Yeah. And this
about
is a
it.
couple that's sharing a shared experience,
Mhm.
right? Like they're both on the run. Like they,
And they could both
like, they're
die at
stuck-
any
they're,
moment.
Like, they're literally
Right.
stuck with each other. Like
Yeah.
they can't. I mean, they can't separate if they wanted to separate, but they just know that they're stronger together than apart. And I think that the overall theme of this movie just tells you the importance of unity when it comes to like a black man and a black woman, right? Like how strong we are together, like that, like the way they shared power. There were moments where Queen had the power, and then there were moments Slim had to get the power.
Right.
You know, and
Slim was the only one with a plan. She didn't even have a plan. She was just, like I said, still kind of operating like just, we got to get to my uncle.
Survival.
yeah,
I don't know what we're going to do. But he was like, no, we're going to Cuba. Like, that's the plan.
yeah,
Make it work.
because like at some point it's like your foot got like you got put your foot down and say like, hey, all right, this is what we need to do. I mean, because what are they gonna do? They're gonna keep going from state to state.
Right.
You know, like they need a destination. So like just to be able to share that power and it kind of shows you like if we were in like in a right situation, this couple would be able to thrive together. But because they're in this fucked up situation, it's like, damn, we gotta really survive together. Like, you know.
So,
And you can't have a movie about a Tinder date without them having sex at some point.
I mean, that's what Tinder's for, right?
Facts.
That's what Tinder's
Just like
for.
I mean,
basics.
you swipe right. What's up?
Just focus on basics.
Shoot a cop and chill or nah? Like, so let me ask you, since we got guys in the room, one of the other criticisms I read was they thought Slim was soft. What did you think he was?
I didn't
Disagree.
I didn't think.
I think it was very fitting for his character to be the way he was, because he is a black man that lives in America, and he is very docile. Like he like I'm gonna die any second, so fuck it. I don't care.
Right.
Like I'm gonna just be alive, and like I'm not gonna try very hard, because what's the point anyway? They're gonna shoot me at the line. So.
And the stereotypically hard dude of the film was the one who sold them out, who was actually soft. So I don't know. That's sad to me that somebody with like feelings and emotions anybody would call soft. I thought he was such a strong, beautiful character, male character, and the one person who was like quintessential hard man was a fucking bitch and sold them out.
Yeah,
so.
Basically.
Because if Slim was this stereotypical, and I'm saying this also with quotes, right? Like
You can't see them, but there are air quotes.
If he was a stereotypical black man, they wouldn't. If Slim was all right, ready? Is it good? All right. Because if Slim was a stereotypical black man, and I'm also saying this with quotes. She got to where she's at. If he was a stereotypical black man, they wouldn't have gotten as far as they went. Because Queen is an independent black woman. She got to where she's at independently. So if she was to get that chauvinistic black man that's like, yo, we gotta do as I say, they wouldn't have gone past Ohio. It would have been called Queen. There would be no Slim. So Slim needed to be that character for her because she was so hard and guarded. He was able to expose his emotions, which allowed her to also be emotional. You can't have two hard people in a relationship. It'll never work. You need a balance between hard and soft.
Cool.
So when you guys are thinking all that, like, you need to get with your feelings, yo.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I want to go into talking about in a further aspect, not just Slim. We're talking about being soft and whether slavery is a choice or whatever. In the movie, I wouldn't say that they were slaves from the jump, but I would say that the movie has a strong emphasis, especially in the wardrobe design, in showing them a unity in their oppression, because you see a lot of them, they're wearing when they're in the field and Slim's driving, he says, "Oh, this is beautiful," and then they keep driving and they see these prisoners in the field, and they're wearing jean suits,
The chain gang, yeah.
Yeah, and then you go to the protests. They're all wearing similar colors, and there are colors that they do show that are not blue and those tones. But at the forefront of the line of the police line, they were mostly that color. So it shows them like in a way that this whole all of America, this culture is oppressed, and they are all slaves essentially. Still, like even you may not even be on the plantation, but in a sense you're still guarded and you're still overwatched.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
no,
true.
absolutely. It's kind of like mentally we're still slaves. Like we
Right.
still like exactly. It's like
Yep.
we're still under the oppression. Like the idea that we can't say these type of things, or we can't do these type of things in these
Right.
certain specific type of situations. A lot of people won't call it slavery, but it's definitely something that makes us feel like like we're limited, and we're kind of still
Still
under the
oppression.
master's law.
Right.
I mean, she did mention Queen did mention being the property of the state.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know, that's very real. Like the moment that you do, even if we were to like put ourselves in, it's like we no longer have our rights. And her being a lawyer, she knows what the fuck she's talking about.
And basically, she was becoming property of the state just for taking out her cell phone to record what was being done to them. To record, so basically, because she was going to record the state, she was going to become property of the state because she was black while doing it.
True. And then you know what? They actually, the scene where they ran out of gas, and Queen was like, "Just go in there with the gun, just rob them, get gas money." And then the white cashier asked to hold the gun. He's like, I'll fill your tank up if you just let me hold the gun. I think that was a brilliant way to slide in who the real terrorists of society are, which is technically white boys with guns. Those are the terrorists in America that we have right now. And just his fascination with guns. It was a small little scene, but it was powerful in the way that she put it there. Yeah.
They got a little scared.
He's like, don't you feel powerful when you're holding one of these? Like, I'm like, damn, okay. Right.
So he could have killed.
He could have.
Yeah, I don't think he was scared of Slim at all. Like
No,
you could see
because
he
he's a
looked at
terrorist.
Slim and
That was the point of it.
He was a
He's
nice
a
guy.
terrorist.
He was a good
Right.
kid. Like, he was very obviously a good kid if he's letting him hold the gun, you know? He's a lovely fellow.
I mean, he grew up with both parents.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
He had an older, I think he had an older or a little brother. I don't know.
Something like.
What does his license
older
plate
brother.
say? Trust God or something shit
Trust
like
God,
that.
like,
Mm.
yeah,
It's
like
like,
he's,
yeah.
you know, he's, I guess like the ideal guy in a sense. You know, and he's just.
That's part of one of the reasons I really like this film, because you're kind of like looking at what it's like to really be like in the room with a person like this. Like a person like Slim isn't portrayed in, like has never been portrayed in film before, and Queen as well. So for all the criticism that the movie's getting in terms of like just like exerting black trauma, I feel like then a lot of people aren't really focusing on like it's more of a an observation of like how two people who both have chips on their shoulder, who are kind of like in the forgotten group of people that we have in this country. It's like, how do these two people interact? Like, even though they don't think they're compatible, they're able to make it work. And I feel like we live in an era now where it's kind of like if you don't check the boxes, you're automatic, like just by looking at you, just by talking to you for like a few hours, if you don't check these boxes, it's never gonna work. Like I feel like a film like this kind of shows that like if you just kind of like really try to empathize with the person that you're with, and really try to understand, and like they may not fit the mold. Like I know Slim doesn't fit the mold at all, but I mean according to what masculinity is and masculinity for black males, but the fact that he was able to really make executive decisions in certain situations, and let Queen have her moments of like making certain calls, but understanding that when it's time for him to call certain shots, like he knew when to do that. I think it's really a really strong point of the film.
You can also compare it to other black males who were introduced in the movie. The father that got hit by the car, he was like, I got bitches too.
Oh my
Right.
God.
In front of his little boy, like, what the hell?
And
Right.
It's
like, damn, your role model.
The definition of being a man in that moment is having multiple women. For him, we don't know his relationship status. Really, we just know that he's nurturing because he's taking care of his son. He's teaching his son when he's gone, he's gonna take care of the business.
Mhm.
When he's gone, you're gonna pretty much be taking care of this garage, you know.
Mhm.
And the final, like, well, the other man too, played by oh my goodness, I had his name,
The last dude you
The,
talking about?
the
The dude
snitch,
with
not
the
the
snitch
snitch, not
ass,
the snitch,
bitch ass
the uncle,
motherfucker.
the uncle.
Oh. Yo, he's a
Yeah,
great
the
actor.
uncle.
He's a
Oh,
really good
Bokeem
actor.
Woodbine,
Yeah.
love him.
Bokeem Woodbine.
Love him.
He's another like type of man, like another spectrum of a black man, right?
Yeah.
Like, where it's just like, okay, but his trauma, like, I don't know where it starts, but from the movie, what they portrayed was like he went to Afghanistan or Iraq. He went to war, so he comes back from that,
Right.
you know, and like he's fucked up from it, and like, but you see how he treats his women in the household, you know, and it's just like he's not your typical pimp,
Right.
you know, but he's kind of like a pimp with respect, but not really. You know, it's just he still got.
He's a human. Like
Yeah,
he's
he's
like
human,
a.
yeah.
He still got his gray areas.
Even how they treated him. What's her name from Pose?
India
India
Moore.
Moore. Yeah.
Shouts out to her because she was amazing.
She was, yeah. She had one of the best lines. She's like, we have to treat him like out there he's nothing, and here he's a king.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that identified with a lot of black women who have certain types of men in their lives. We as people already deal with bullshit outside of our home. That the last thing we want to deal with is more bullshit at home. We want to deal with love when we come home, you know?
So there was a moment that I thought was particularly beautiful, and it was when after she hung out of the car window and said that she always wanted to do that, and then she urged Slim to try the same thing. And he almost fell at first, and then he got his bearings, and then he tried to lift his arm up, but he couldn't quite do it. He couldn't quite be that free and like comfortable in it, but he was enjoying like what little he could accomplish in that moment, and I thought it was so beautiful and understated. And I wondered if there are any moments that stood out to you guys as particularly beautiful.
The dancing I found very beautiful. They had a moment where they didn't have to think of anything but the moment itself. You can sense that there was love growing between the two. There's love, like you can really sense like a love really growing. Like there's something about when you dance with somebody. I'm a dancer, so like when you dance with somebody in the club and like there's that moment you have with that person, it really does feel special. And like to see that portrayed in film, where you're going through this traumatic experience and like dancing is really like therapeutic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They were in their own little world for a minute. Yeah.
And the rest of the people there, like the bartender or whatever, and they all kind of knew who they were, and they all knew what they were about, and they told them that they were in their safe space. I thought that was very heartwarming for me, as well as the backdrop, like in the scene, you know, like on the wall, it was kind of like pictures, like paintings of the tigers, and then you see Queen, you know, with her whole outfit on. It kind of like complemented the area that they were in. I don't know, all these little things throughout the film were like super beautiful, and you know, as well as when they got on the horse, you know, like when they went to go find the horse, even though it was very short lived, you know, they kind of had to have that moment where they were like, you know, could kind of do things that other people could do, and you know, just have fun for a little while. I thought, you know, it was all very moving.
I feel like that's like metaphorical, you know, like us as like in the black community is like it's almost like we have to have fun in certain moments because we deal with so much that like the fun that we get to have, we just have to be in the moment. You know,
I feel like that is all people, but I feel like it is a big part of black culture to capitalize on that fun, on those fun moments and make them as big as possible. Because I think that is true of all people's lives and where we find ourselves, but I think black culture places heavy importance on like just really doing it up in those moments, and you know, some of my favorite parts of our culture.
Beautiful moment for me was when they took the picture, when he finally, you know, because earlier on they had a conversation about pictures, and he's like, oh, I just live in the moment, I don't really take pictures. And she's like, well, how's the world gonna know you're here? And then he finally, the little boy, the mechanic's son, took the picture for them, and which became their iconic photo and like the poster work for the film. I just thought that was cool. Like he was they were doing a nice give and take by that point. And even though it was sad, but the ending scene was beautiful too, where she just looked at him and she was like, I'm not gonna let go of your hand.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about like how what a woman wants and what a man wants in a relationship. I thought that was really beautiful when they talked about it, like what she wanted and what he wanted.
Right.
And it was just like, and it kind of like
proves
point, like, you know,
to a point that at the end of the day,
like,
we just want someone to love and accept us. They were seeking unconditional love.
You know, it's just like we just want somebody to love us, like, you know, like, and really love us unconditionally and be there for us.
And in the end, they both got it.
Yeah.
And they got everybody else's love too, and I feel like, you know, they kind of started a movement. You know, like they went down as legends, and, you know, everybody's gonna remember Queen and Slim from that point forward. You know, like their impact on the black community was kind of, you know, I would say is what was the victory in the film.
One more moment that I thought was beautiful in a really horrifying way was after the kid shot the SWAT officer, or whatever kind of officer he was. The look on his face of just sheer terror and, oh my God, what have I done? I thought was, I get chills thinking about it right now. But you don't normally get to see that, you know, like you saw that shock of what have I done, and I don't think that we get to see that enough. Of like that moment of realization and regret. A lot of times it's like the bad characters do bad things, the good characters do good things, but this great character did something really fucked up. Right. And he was a little kid and didn't know, and we could really see that, and I was really glad we got to see that.
Yeah, like the juxtaposition between, sorry, what were you gonna say? Saying the juxtaposition between that and the sex scene, the fact that they were happening at the same time, I kind of said a lot.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
It's kind of like these two people are loving, and this guy's taking another person's life. It's kind of like 1-for-1 situation. So I thought that was very poetic as well.
Making kids and what happens to your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's really good. But I mean, a beautiful moment for me. I don't even think is like takes place in the movie. Like I watched the film with Najee, and like that was an amazing experience. But I watched it a second time, and I watched it with like not even watching the movie, but I was more so watching the audience and being with the audience and feeling like how they felt at certain moments when I knew it was coming, and like hearing them like no, you know, don't do that, don't go there, or whatever, you know, or but it was really the ending, because when they shoot her, it took so much out of me, because to hear them in their quietness and in that moment of like, oh my God, and to know that you about to get slapped way harder, and it really took a lot out of me, and it was just it was a beautiful moment to share with the audience. So I'm glad I saw it twice. So if you know, you guys should really check it out. It's a very powerful movie.
This is not a BET movie.
No, this was beautiful. It was beautifully shot, beautifully lit. Like
I'm not gonna lie, yo, like that towards
written everything.
I rarely get shook in films. That gunshot got me shook.
Yeah.
It's
I was just like, whoa.
My jaw dropped open, and I'm not. I know that's cliche, but my mouth opened like by accident.
I think I started crying when I saw it, like, cause when they were getting out and they were walking to the plane, and you see old fuck boy make the U-turn. If I see that nigga on the street, make a U-turn
On site.
on and pop it. You see him make a U-turn, and then you see the cop lights come behind them, but they don't know it yet. I started crying from then. I was like, okay, see, this is like, why can't you just let him get on the plane? Like, please.
And his hands clearly were, he was holding, okay, so when Silm was holding Queen after she got shot, and there was zero possibility of him being able to
shoot
pose
them.
a threat
Right.
at all.
They didn't have to.
And
Right.
I just was so upset.
Yeah.
I was so
The show of force was
upset.
unnecessary from jump.
Off what
Just-
you just said, Captain Brother, because he was a snitch ass bitch.
Yes.
I want to talk about, you know, like our culture and how we do trade out each other. You know, like we see this every day, that we sell out each other, but at the same time, we can't come together and support each other. And you know, I'm not condoning killing anyone, but when George Zimmerman can sue a family who killed their son and like they probably spent their last dollars on that trial in the first place.
Right.
And you go back and then sell T-shirts, sell signs, Skittles, and all this other trash, and like you have the audacity to like. I really am mad at our culture because I'm like, there's a problem here, and
we can be passive to a cop, like we can be passive to a cop that kills your brother, and they get only 10 years in jail, and it's like, what goes viral is you hugging that cop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Your brother, you know what I'm saying?
And the judge, which is highly unprofessional, but
so it's just like
yeah.
America's backwards that way,
Mm-hmm.
But I will also say that I feel like we're always like, oh, we should support each other, and we should. Like, as humans, we should. I don't think it's a black culture problem. I think it's a human problem, and I think we don't need to be slashing, like, people in black culture for not always supporting each other. Like, yes, it's best for us to band together since everyone's against us. Like, and I understand that argument, but I see a lot of unity also, and when people are constantly like, oh, like, we're always turning our backs on each other, like, so are a lot of other people, and that's not cool. But I see a lot of unity, and like on a daily basis, on a national basis, on an international basis, I feel like there's a lot of love too, and I just don't want to leave that part out.
No, I agree. I think we have a solidarity that not a lot of other people have, but at the same time, we have a lot of other things to work on. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's like you have the black capitalists versus the black socialists, and things like that. It's like if you like offer money to somebody who has nothing on the street, like in the situation in Queen and Slim, the guy that eventually sold them out. I know thousands of people who've taken that money and like just to sell them out. I mean, to an extent, like a lot of us participate in that type of action every day, like unknowingly, just like participating in society. You're kind of contributing to selling out like the more oppressed people, like say people who are in the criminal, like being criminalized or who are in jail and things like that. Like we contribute to the prison industrial complex just by participating in society. So there's so many different ways you can look at it, but I think the more we come together and we more understand where everybody's at, then I think ultimately that can lead to more unification and more solidarity to where we're all kind of on the same page, which is my pie in the sky, like how I idealize things.
I have a question. The character that sold him out, was he the same character that the white guy told him he had to go meet up?
No.
No, there was some confusion.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought too about that whole thing. I was like, oh, they sold him out because he took him, but no, I think that they got confused or something, and they stayed there. They stayed where they were, and he just saw them. And then, because he told him, he says, get out the car, leave the car.
Right.
And he has a shotgun, so it's like, if they don't come, I'm gonna make them come.
Right.
No choice.
Yep.
Exactly.
Anyone have any closing thoughts on the film? Anything else they want to say?
Shout out to Melina Matsoukas. Like, she's a really great,
she's
artist.
Dope.
Like,
she's killing it.
In terms of what she's like, the cinematography that she does for other things, like Insecure,
and things
Queen
like
Sugar.
That.
Queen Sugar. In this film,
she did the Beyonce Lemonade video.
It's like her resume is insane. Like her resume is like off the charts. So like, shout out to her. I appreciate her making this film, and I think she's gonna do a lot of great things in the future.
Have you on the show.
Facts.
Oh yeah, please let us interview you and ask you questions.
And
you too, Beyonce, and you too, Solange.
You're all invited to this bedroom.
Everybody come.
Yeah, just come to my apartment.
Lena, Waithe,
come through and grab
Oprah.
Yep.
We got
Make it a party.
wine.
Got snacks.
We got cookies.
What more could you want?
But definitely, check us out. Where we at, Mike? On the social medias.
Check us out on IG, Micheaux Film Club, the Micheaux Film Club on IG, and on Twitter, the Micheaux FC. Don't forget YouTube, Patreon, SoundCloud, all of that good stuff. And donate, give us a little something, 25 cents here and there. That adds up. We're trying to elevate. We're trying to connect all filmmakers, actors, anybody in a spectrum of filmmaking.
In the community and
in the community.
build community.
Yup, and just come together and like create our own shit, create our own Hollywood.
Yeah. So if you happen to see old boy with the grills, bust a cap in his ass, and then send us $10, you know, because he got paid. Just send us a couple bucks. That's all. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about Queen and Slim, and about the podcast. What you'd like for us to talk about. Anything. We're open to